everybody, it's Sarah, and I am really sorry if during this video you hear a lot of rain because it's raining a lot outside, but this is kind of my last option to pre-film videos before I leave for my Christmas holidays. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now, and I hope you won't mind too much. Anyway, today I thought I'd share with you all of my most anticipated 2020 releases. I'm usually not a person that keeps up with new releases. I kind of rely on Twitter to tell me if a new book has come out or not, but this year I decided to just make a list of all the releases that I'm waiting for this year. Some of those releases are just continuations in series, other releases are new series that are started by some of my favorite authors, and other releases are just books that I came across on Twitter and I thought they sounded interesting, and so I added them to that list. And with those books, I do not know that much about them, I just thought they sounded interesting, so the summaries to those books will be very not up to par, let's say it like that. So let me get into this list. The way I will do it is I will start with releases that I think are going to come out in 2020, like first books that were released in 2019 that kind of have been confirmed to be part of a series, and I'm just assuming the next one is going to be published in 2020, but we do not have a definite release date yet, and then I'm just going to go per month. So the first book I have, or the first sequel I have, is the sequel to The Good Luck Girls by Charlotte Nicole Davis. I do not even know if it's confirmed that this is a series. It could just as well be a standalone, but there is like an untitled book 2 to The Good Luck Girls tab on Goodreads, so I'm assuming it's a series, but it's also no surprise that we don't have news yet since this has only been published in like October or November. And this is a story following a bunch of girls that escaped from a brothel and just kind of them trying to find their way to freedom, and it's set in a kind of Wild West steampunk style dystopian future past world thingy, and I really enjoyed it, so I really hope there's going to be a second book in 2020. Then, and this one has been confirmed to get a book 2, I think, is the second book to Gumiho Wicked Fox by Kat Cho. But again, as of the filming of this video, I have not seen any news as to a release date, even though I think, again, we know that there's going to be a second book. And this is an urban fantasy romance set in modern day Seoul that is kind of written K-drama style, so if you enjoy K-dramas, I think you will enjoy this one. And our main character is a Gumiho, which is the Korean version of the nine-tailed fox. So there's a lot of Korean folklore in this, which was the part that I particularly enjoyed. Aside from that, I gave it like a solid 3.5 stars. I did enjoy it, but I'll have to read the second book to see if I then want to continue on with the series, so that's why I'm excited for the second book. And then I also hope we'll get a second book to The Guinevere Deception in 2020 by Kirsten White. This is the first book in the Camelot Rising series, so we do know that it's a series, but again, as of the filming of this video, I have not yet seen like any news as to a release date or possible release date for book 2. And this is an Arthurian retelling following Guinevere, who is not really Guinevere but actually a changeling sent to help Arthur. And I absolutely love this, but it also only just came out in November, so no surprise that we haven't gotten any news yet. Then the last book that kind of only we know that it's going to come out in 2020 is The Burning Roses by S.L. Huang. And I just saw this and it sounded interesting and it sounded gay, and that's why I added it to my list. And I can't really gather much from Goodreads, which I have open right next to me on my Mac. It just says, when Rosa, aka Red Riding Hood, and Hu Yi the archer join forces to stop the deadly sunbirds from ravaging the countryside, their quest will take the two women, now blessed and burdened with the hindsight of middle age, into a reckoning of sacrifices made and mistakes mourned, of choices and family and the quest for immortality. Burning Roses, a gorgeous fairy tale of love and family, of demons and lost gods, arrives in 2020. So like, not really much to go on, but it sounds interesting, it sounds gay, and that's why I added it to my list, because we all need some more gay in our lives. Now let's get to the January releases. Funnily, there's 3 books that are going to be published on the 7th. that I'm kind of excited for. The first of those is Lady Hotspur by Tessa Gretchen, which is a book set in the same world as the Queens of Innisfleer, but a few hundred years after everything that happens in this book. And since this is one of my favorite books of 2019, I'm really excited for this one as well. This was a retelling of Shakespeare's King Lear. This is going to be a retelling of Shakespeare's Henry IV, I think. And yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm definitely gonna pick it up as soon as I find it. Then also on the 7th we have A Heart So Fierce and Broken, which is the sequel to A Curse So Dark and Lonely and the second book in the Cursebreaker series. I did enjoy this. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I would have wished this was just a standalone. I do not think it's necessary to make everything into a series, but nevertheless I enjoyed it enough to pick up the second book and then see if I want to continue on with the series or DNF it. And then the third book that's coming out on the 7th is Scavenge the Stars by Tara Sim, which is like a gender-swapped retelling of The Count of Monte Cristo. And honestly, if it's anything like what I've heard The Count of Monte Cristo is, it's probably going to be an epic revenge tale, and who isn't there for that? And then the last book for January is Dark and Deepest Red by Anne-Marie McLemore, and this is going to be published on the 14th. And it sounds like a fairy tale retelling with a dual timeline, a dark fairy tale retelling, all surrounding these red shoes that make you dance until you drop dead. And I love dark and grim fairy tale retellings, so I think I'm going to enjoy this. Continuing on with February, on the 4th we have The Silvered Serpents, which is the sequel to The Gilded Wolves, of course. This is a kind of ensemble piece heist story set in fin de siècle Paris. And I really enjoyed this. This was also one of my favorite reads of 2019, so I think I'm going to enjoy the second book as well. Next, on the 11th, we have Heart of Flames, which is the sequel to Crown of Feathers by Nikki Pau Prieto. And this is a story following a girl who wants to be a phoenix rider. And I mean, we already don't have enough of dragon riders, but we really don't have enough of phoenix riders. So I'm excited to pick up book 2. Also on the 11th, we have Ink in the Blood by Kim Smake. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but I don't know enough of this book to really give you a summary, but what I know is that it follows two girls and that it's about tattoo magic, and just those two things make me want to read it. Then on the 18th we have The Wolf of Oran Yaro by K.S. Veloso, and to be honest, the main reasons why I put this on my list is because 1, I love the cover, 2, it has the word wolf in the title, which is always a plus and kind of gets me checking out a book automatically, especially if it's fantasy, and 3rd, it follows a queen that's stranded in another country and like separated from her people, and I love that trope. So yeah, actually I have never read that trope, but it sounds like something I would like. So yeah, that's why I put this on the list. Then we have a book that I don't know how excited I'm still for this book, because I feel like it's kind of gotten too long, but then again we're going to see characters again that I've been waiting for ages, even though I feel like the main male character of this book I'm not going to like too much. But anyway, it's The Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. Of course I'm going to read this book. Like, who do you think I am? It's Cassandra Clare. And this is going to be published on the 3rd of March, and it's the first book in her new The Last Hours series. Next I have The Winter Duke by Claire Eliza Bartlett, and the main reason why I put this one on my list is because it includes the lines in the Goodreads summary that the female main character inherits the warrior bride of her brother after the whole family just like is cursed or something, I don't know. But it's a fantasy story and it's sapphic, and that's really all I need to know, to be honest, to put it on my list. Next I have Witches of Ash and Ruin by E. Latimer, which is going to be published on the 3rd as well. And the reason why I put this on my list is because it includes bisexual rep, it includes mental health rep, it's set in Ireland, and it includes witches. And that's all I need to know. Then on the 10th, my probably most anticipated release of 2020 is The Queen's Bargain, which is book 10 in the Black Jewel series, which is of course my favorite series of all time. And it's been 6 years since we got the last book, and oh my god, I'm so excited, and it's just, I can't wait. Like, not at all. Then we're already at April with Queen of Coin and Whispers, which is going to be published on the 4th of April. And the reason why I put this on my list is because it apparently includes a romance between a queen and her female Spy Master. And again, it's kind of just like anything I saw that's sapphic fantasy I put on my list because I can't get enough of that, and I just wanna have all of the sapphic representation in my books in 2020. Then we're already moving on to May, and on the 12th I'm excited for Girl Serpent Thorn by Melissa Barshadoost, which is following a girl who has a poisonous touch, and that just sounds really interesting, so I put it on my list. And since that was the only one for May, I'm already at June, and on the 1st we're getting The Dark Tide by Alicia Jasninska. Probably butchered the name. But this is following a story of a girl who lives like in a village where every year or every few years there's a boy that's sacrificed to the witch. And since she thinks her brother is going to be sacrificed that year, she offers herself as the sacrifice. And yeah, apparently it's going to include some sapphic villain hero goodness. On the 9th we have Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas, and this follows a trans boy who is a Brujo. I'm sorry, I really don't know how you pronounce that. And he's apparently going to summon a ghost to convince his parents of his gender. And that just sounds really, really interesting, and I haven't read that many books yet with trans rep, so that's just the main reason why I put this on my list as well, because that's something that I want to read more of, especially in the light of recent events. We're at July and finally at a sequel again, and that is Unravel the Dusk, which is the sequel to Spin the Dawn, and the series I think is called The Blood of the Stars by Elizabeth Lim. This was a kind of Mulan retelling, but the main character isn't trying to be a warrior but is trying to be a royal tailor, and I absolutely love this book. It was another one of my favorites of 2019, so I cannot wait for the sequel. Next I have The Fella of Dark by Caleb Roaring, which is going to be published on the 14th of July. And I feel like vampires are kind of making a comeback, but not like the sexy type of vampire, but like maybe also the sexy type of vampire. But anyway, this follows a boy who lives in a vampire town and he hates it until one day a cute vampire boy comes along and maybe they're going to fall in love, I'm guessing. But yeah, I have a lot of sapphic on my TBR already. I don't have that much gay on my TBR, so I think it's about time that one of those books comes along as well. Then we're in August, and for August I have two books that are both not confirmed if they're even going to come out in 2020. The first one is Doors of Stone, which is the third book in the Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss, and we have been waiting for 6 years, 5 years? Like, the last book was published in 2014. By the time that it's supposed to be published, it's going to be 6 years. So there have not been any news yet as to if it's going to be published or not. However, both Amazon and Goodreads have set the publishing date as the 20th of August 2020. So we'll see if that's going to happen. And the second book that we're waiting for that might be published in 2020, maybe in August, maybe earlier, is Winds of Winter by George R.R. Martin, and we have been waiting even longer for that one because the last one, Dance with Dragons, was published in 2011, so it has been over 8 years already, and 2020 is going to mark 9 years since publication. And yeah, the reason why people think it might be published in 2020 is that George R.R. Martin on his blog or in an interview told us that if he hasn't published Winds of Winter by August 2020, we're allowed to put him in a cellar and lock him in there until he has finished that damn book. So yeah, fingers crossed. Then moving on to September, on the 1st of September we have Blood and Honey, which is the sequel to Serpent and Dove. I did enjoy this book when I first read it, and then the more I thought about it, I enjoyed it less and less. It's by Shelby Mahurin, by the way. But I'm still willing to pick up the second book to see how much I like it, and this follows a marriage of convenience between a witch and a witch hunter, where the witch hunter doesn't know that the witch is a witch. So yeah. Interesting premise. The execution lacked in a few bits, but again, I'm still willing to pick up the second book. Then I think on the 1st of September as well, we're supposed to get The Lost Book of the White, which is the second book in the Eldest Curses series by Cassandra Clare, which is the series that follows Magnus and Alec, which I am pretty excited about because I did enjoy this first book and I thought it was way too short. On the 3rd of September, we're going to get a book that I'm so excited about, and that's The Empire of the Vampire. And first of all, the title is already great. Second of all, it's by Jay Kristoff, which I absolutely love. The Nevernight Chronicles, which I reread the first 2 books this year and finished the last book, so like really excited. Thirdly, it's featuring vampires, and not the sexy kind of vampires, but the scary kind of vampires, so that's also amazing. It's set in a world where it's constantly night, and apparently it's also including a lot of illustrations. Or is it even a graphic novel? I don't know, but I'm just really excited. And then the last book for September, which we do not know which day it will come out yet, but we just know that it's going to come out in September, is Nightshine by Tessa Gretton, which apparently is Howl's Moving Castle, but queer. And like, I mean, Howl as a character, y'all can't tell me he isn't queer, because like, Howl just is. But anyway, apparently there's supposed to be multiple gender fluid, gender non-conforming characters. There's multiple like bisexual, homosexual characters, and like everyone in this book apparently is some type of queer, and that just makes me really excited, and I can't wait to hold it in my hands. And then on the 17th of November, we got the news that we're going to get Stormlight 4, with the current title being Rhythm of War, which might still change, but that of course, like, the first book was Way of Kings, and I absolutely love this series. I am so excited, and yeah, I just can't wait. And yeah, that was my very long list of books that I'm kind of excited for 2020. Tell me in the comments down below if you're as excited as I am for any of the books, and if there's any more releases that I should keep my eye out for, be on the lookout for. If you enjoyed this video, please think about giving me a thumbs up and also maybe subscribing. All the links to my social media as always are in the description box down below, so go and check those out, and I hope I'll see you soon. Bye!